The night it all began, I was standing in the cereal aisle of the grocery store, comparing the sugar content of Raisin Bran and Honey Nut Cheerios, when I got the text. Dinner at Leon's tonight. 7:30. Just us. I need to talk. Ash. Short. Sweet. Slightly suspicious. Now let me explain something about my wife, Ashley. She didn't do spontaneous. She scheduled dentist appointments 6 months out and color-coded our shared calendar. A last-minute dinner invite from her was about as normal as a cat giving you directions to the DMV. Still, I went. Because when your wife of 8 years says, "We need to talk," you don't ignore that. You cancel plans, you shave, you show up on time. Leon's was her favorite restaurant, fancy, overpriced, the kind of place that uses parsley like its actual currency. I pulled up in the parking lot feeling that tightness in my chest. I figured it was about our marriage. We've been circling around the same tired arguments lately, her long hours, my emotional unavailability, whatever that means. I thought maybe she was finally ready to work on it. Yeah, I was wrong. When I walked in, the hostess smiled like she knew something I didn't and pointed me to a corner booth. Ashley was already there. But she wasn't alone. There he was, Chase Donovan, Mr. Smile that could melt glass. Her coworker. Her mentor. The guy she brought up just enough times to make me wonder if I should be worried. Tight shirt, smug grin, and the kind of tan that says, "I summer in places with yachts." "Ashley," I said, stopping just short of the table. She stood, gestured like she was introducing me to a magician at a children's party. "Logan, this is Chase. You've heard about him." "Oh yeah," I said. "Plenty." Chase extended a hand. "Good to finally meet you, man." I didn't take it. I sat down across from them, heart pounding like a war drum. The waitress came over, chirpy and oblivious, and poured water for 3. Ashley smiled. "Too wide. Too bright. Thanks for coming. I know this is unconventional." "Unconventional? Lady, this is a Nicholas Sparks novel about to go sideways." And just like that, Chase leaned forward, eyes locked on mine, and said it. "You've got 2 options, Logan. Leave quietly, or face me like a man. Let me tell you something. When a man in a spray-on shirt tells you to face him like a man, what he's really saying is, I've never been punched in the mouth and it shows. But I didn't swing. Not yet. Instead, I stared at him. Then at Ashley. She didn't look away. Didn't wince. Just sat there, her wine glass cradled like a trophy, watching me absorb the moment like she was at a theater and I was the show. "You want your teeth whole or in pieces?" I said, voice calm. Too calm. Chase blinked. Ashley flinched, but not from fear, more like she was annoyed I didn't play my part with dignity. Then I stood, and in one motion, I cleared the table with my forearm. Plates shattered. Wine exploded across the linen in Ashley's white dress. Chase stumbled back, trying to look tough while sliding on risotto. "Logan, stop. You're embarrassing me." Ashley screamed. Oh, I was embarrassing her? After 8 years of paying bills, building a life, and carrying our marriage like a drunk friend at a wedding? I was the embarrassment? Security showed up faster than her excuses. I didn't fight them. Didn't resist. Just walked out, hands raw, shirt stained, and dignity scattered like the broken glass on the floor. The cold air hit my face like a slap, and I just stood there, breathing, blinking, remembering who I was before I became him, the man who didn't see this coming. It wasn't the affair that gutted me. It was the planning. She'd choreographed the whole thing like a ballet, candles, wine, Chase playing the villain with just the right balance of charm and threat. And me? I was the unpaid extra showing up to get humiliated in scene 3. When I got home, something felt off. Not visually, nothing moved, nothing missing. But the energy? Different. Her perfume was in the hallway. And something else. Muskio. A scent that didn't belong. I walked into the bedroom. The bed was made. Ashley never made the bed. Ever. If the house was on fire, she'd grab her purse, not the duvet. But there it was, tight corners, smooth sheets, a presentation of perfection. Like they'd wanted to erase something. I sat down, fist still throbbing from the hit, and stared at the blank wall like it owed me answers. My phone buzzed. "Ashley, you didn't have to do that. You embarrassed yourself." "Not are you okay?" "Not let's talk." Just blame. Cold and clean. And that's when the silence in my chest twisted into something else. Something sharper. I wasn't broken. I was wide awake. This wasn't over. She wanted a show? I'd give her one. They say denial's a river. But in my case, it was more like a memory foam mattress. Soft, expensive, and slowly sinking under the weight of everything I hadn't wanted to see. The next morning, I woke up to silence. No clinking mugs, no hum of the blow dryer, no Ashley rehearsing her fake laughs in the mirror. Just the faint echo of Chase's smirk bouncing around my skull like a racquetball. She didn't come home that night. Correction, she didn't come home to me. I got up, cracked my knuckles, and made coffee. Not because I wanted it, just because it gave my hands something to do other than punch drywall. I walked the house slowly, like I was touring a museum of bad decisions. Every corner whispered a lie I'd once believed. The framed wedding photo in the hallway? Lie. The anniversary wine corks in the jar by the fireplace? Lie. The love you always note taped to the fridge? Bold-faced, cursive scripted, refrigerator-grade lie. I sat down at the kitchen table and opened my laptop. See, the thing about betrayal is that once you know, your mind becomes Sherlock Holmes on caffeine. I started retracing the timeline. Business trips, late meetings, girls' nights, all the moments she came home just a little too happy, or not at all. Then I checked our shared phone plan. I scrolled through the records, jaw tight. Chase Donovan, 94 calls in 30 days. 30. Some lasting over an hour. Half of them after midnight. Then I saw it. Unknown number, frequent, brief calls, always within minutes of her arriving home. The timing wasn't just suspicious, it was surgical. I grabbed her tablet from the living room. Still linked to her cloud account. Amateur move. Opened the photo archive. The most recent photo wasn't of me. Or us. It was a mirror selfie. She was in our bedroom. In a shirt. You could tell by the stupid logo across the chest. That little snake he always wore. A snake wearing a snake. Fitting. But it was the expression that did it. She looked happy. And not just happy. Free. Not a flicker of guilt. Just smooth skin, perfect lighting, and betrayal in high resolution. My hands were ice. I stared at the screen until it dimmed. Then I opened the nightstand drawer. I wasn't looking for comfort. I was looking for answers. That's when I found it. A receipt. Folded twice. Tucked behind an old Valentine's Day card like some twisted bookmark. 2 nights at a boutique hotel downtown. 1 king bed. Champagne add-on. Candlelight dinner included. Dated the same weekend she told me she was flying out to visit her sister. And just like that, the game was over. No more benefit of the doubt. No more wondering. She didn't slip. She jumped. When Ashley finally walked in the door later that night, her face carefully unreadable, I was waiting. Sitting at the table, photo printed out, receipt laid neatly beside it. Everything perfectly arranged like I was hosting my own little evidence exhibit. She stopped, blinked. Her eyes flicked to the items. Then she looked at me and said, "You went through my stuff?" Like that was the crime. I just tilted my head. "Tell me something," I said. "Did you fall in love with him before or after you let him sleep in my place?" Silence. And then she said the most honest thing she ever said to me. "I didn't think you'd find out." I laughed. Not a big laugh. Just a quiet, tired one. "Well," I said, standing slowly, "you were wrong." I walked out of the room. Not because I was weak. Because I needed time. Time to plan the kind of ending you don't bounce back from. They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but I wasn't interested in serving anything right away. No. I needed it aged, slow-roasted over time, basted in patience, and plated with precision. That night, after Ashley dropped her little confession like it was a post-it note, she disappeared upstairs. Not a tear, not a sorry, not even the classic. It didn't mean anything. Just that line. "I didn't think you'd find out." Let that one marinate. I didn't follow her. I sat in the garage, the door cracked just enough for the night air to sneak in, and I stared at the tools I hadn't touched in months. I wasn't angry anymore. I was awake. And awareness? That's more dangerous than rage. Rage gets you locked up. Awareness gets you even. So I started with her schedule. Chase Donovan was a man of patterns, self-important ones. Gym in the mornings, smoothie selfies by 9 a.m., LinkedIn posts about grinding and synergy by noon. He was the kind of guy who used words like dominance and legacy, but couldn't change a tire without Googling it. A showman, through and through. I watched him, followed his digital fingerprints. He tagged himself in cafes, checked in at conferences, dropped breadcrumbs like a pigeon with a Wi-Fi addiction. And Ashley? She was no better. A private Instagram account that I hadn't seen in years suddenly revealed a whole highlight reel of excuses. Posts captioned late meetings with wine glasses clinking in the background. One post from her girls' trip showed her holding a cocktail, his watch visible in the background, resting on the armrest beside her like a trophy. You'd think if you were going to cheat, you'd be better at hiding it. But arrogance? Arrogance makes people sloppy. I didn't confront her. I became the ghost in our marriage. Polite, distant, efficient. I cooked dinner without asking if she was eating, paid the bills without question, kept everything humming just enough so she wouldn't suspect I was laying the foundation of a reckoning. And then I started phase 2. Ashley loved comfort. Routine. She needed the house to smell like lavender and the thermostat set to exactly 72 degrees. So I changed little things. Moved the thermostat to 68. Switched the coffee to decaf. Logged her out of Netflix. Started replying to her text with just one word, okay. To someone who feeds off control, that kind of silence is unsettling. But my real work? That happened after midnight in the basement. Old emails, financial records, her work calendar, the hotel receipt. I built a folder. Not digital. Physical. I wanted to feel the weight of it. By the end of the week, I had 3 thick manila envelopes, one for Chase's boss. Turns out he wasn't just her mentor, he was also married. One for HR at her company. Spoiler alert, office romances with supervisors are frowned upon. And one for her sister, who always swore she'd pick truth over blood. I didn't plan to send them. Not yet. You see, I wasn't just going to expose her. I was going to dismantle the illusion she'd carefully curated, brick by brick. One morning, she walked into the kitchen and froze. Her prized Dutch oven family heirloom, she claimed, was gone, replaced by a cheap knockoff I'd ordered online. What happened to my Le Creuset? She asked, eyeing the new pot like it had insulted her ancestors. Must have chipped, I said, pouring myself a cup of coffee. Threw it out. She blinked, caught off guard. It was fine yesterday. I sipped my coffee. Things break. That became my new answer. To everything. Her phone charger? Replaced with a slower one. Her favorite hoodie? Must have gotten lost in the wash. Little by little, I started erasing the comfort zones. A silent reset. Meanwhile, Chase was getting nervous. How do I know? Because he messaged me. That's right. He reached out on Facebook like a guy trying to broker peace after stealing your parking spot and hitting your dog with his car. Logan, man. I think we got off on the wrong foot. I just want Ashley to be happy. Maybe we could talk. Talk? Sure. I replied, I'll be in touch. Then I printed the message. Added it to the folder. 3 weeks passed. Ashley started noticing. You've been quiet lately, she said one night, wine in hand. We don't talk anymore. I looked up from my book. No, we don't. She shifted, unsure how to navigate this version of me. Are we okay? I closed the book, set it down gently, and smiled. Ashley, I said, we're better than okay. We're honest now. She didn't know what to say to that. Because for the first time, I wasn't playing my part. I was writing a new script. And the final act? Coming soon. By week 4, the silence between Ashley and me wasn't just quiet, it was weaponized. She'd started doing this thing where she'd talk loudly on the phone, making sure I could hear her laugh. The kind of laugh people practice in mirrors. Overdone. Hollow. Like she was auditioning for the role of a happy woman who has no regrets. I didn't bite. In fact, I gave her what she thought she wanted, freedom. Unwatched comings and goings. No more questioning late arrivals. No more raised eyebrows when she accidentally came home with her lipstick smudged and earrings missing. She thought I'd finally given up. What I was actually doing. Setting the trap. Thursday night, 8:07 p.m. Ashley was at her book club. You know, the one that never seemed to produce any book recommendations. I was in the driveway. Not pacing. Not waiting. Just sitting in the driver's seat of my car, staring at the glowing dashboard, engine off, thinking. I wasn't doubting myself. I was just savoring the moment before the first domino fell. Because once this began, there was no pressing pause. And if I've learned anything, it's that you don't serve revenge too fast. You serve it with presentation. So I pulled out the burner phone. Yeah, I bought one. Same model Ashley used. Downloaded a fake texting app. Set the name to Logan Work and copied her casual typing style, short, lowercase, lots of emojis. Then I typed the bait. Hey babe, pleading face, mind picking up wine before you come? Chase's fave. You know the one. Exo kiss mark. Sent. 30 seconds later, I heard it, her laugh, muffled by distance but sharp enough to cut through the night. Ashley, walking up the driveway, phone glowing in her hand. She stopped dead, looked at the screen. Her whole face changed. That warm, fake happiness dropped like a mask someone forgot to tie on tight. She stared at my car. At me. I rolled down the window. Evening. Her eyes narrowed. What the hell was that? What was what? I said, keeping my tone somewhere between friendly and deadly. She shoved the phone toward me. This. Why are you texting me from some random number pretending to be me? I smirked. I don't know, Ashley. Why are you sneaking around behind my back with a guy whose idea of deep conversation is protein shake recipes? She didn't answer. Just stood there, fist clenched. Look, I said, getting out of the car. I wanted to test something. Wanted to see how fast you'd run. And surprise, you sprinted. You're insane, she muttered, backing toward the house. No, I said. I'm focused. That weekend, I sent envelope 1 to Chase's wife. Yeah, turns out Chase had a +1 too. Classic narcissist move, building a house of lies on both sides of town. Her name was Claire. 2 kids. 1 golden retriever. Instagram account full of DIY projects and date night selfies, complete with hashtags like #Foreverist and #King and Queen. I printed out the photo Ashley had accidentally saved to the cloud, the one with her in bed, Chase's hand just barely in frame. Put it in the envelope along with the hotel receipt and a typed note. Claire. Thought you deserved to know who's been warming your husband's side of the bed. Respectfully. A man who's done playing dumb. I didn't need a return address. Truth finds its own way. 3 days later, Ashley came home with mascara streaked down her cheeks. He's gone, she said softly. Chase. I asked innocently. What a shock. She nodded, sniffled like a kid who just realized Santa wasn't real. His wife found out. He's moving out. She took the kids. I just stared at her. I wanted to say, and how's your book club doing? But I didn't. I wanted her to stew in the silence. Next up, envelope 2. Her job. See, Ashley had been raving about how close she was to getting a regional promotion. I'm finally being seen, she'd said. They trust me. Not for long. I waited until Monday morning. Printed everything again, texts, photos, even a screenshot of her Outlook calendar marked Lunch with Chase, private. Added a typed message. Dear company name HR. As a concerned third party, I felt it necessary to inform you of a relationship between Ashley, last name, and her direct supervisor, Chase Donovan. Given your company's very clear employee conduct policies, I figured this might be worth your attention. Sincerely. Someone who reads the handbook. I mailed it to both the HR director and the regional manager. 2 birds, 1 grenade. By Thursday, she was pacing the living room like a lawyer waiting on a verdict. They've launched a formal investigation, she snapped. I raised my eyebrows. Really? That's so unfair. They have no proof, she insisted. Oh, I'm sure they don't, I said. Unless someone mailed them proof in a manila envelope. She froze. You didn't. I didn't blink. I did. Her mouth opened. Closed. Then opened again. You've lost your mind. No, I said, standing. I finally found my spine. By the end of the month, Ashley was out of the house. No big fight. No luggage throwing. No screaming matches. She walked out quietly. Because there was nothing left for her to hold on to. Chase had dumped her. HR had suspended her. And the mirror was starting to tell her the truth I already knew. She lost. Not because I yelled. But because I waited. Because while she was busy staging a betrayal, I was building a finale. And this? This was just intermission. By the time she moved out, the house was cleaner, quieter, emptier in the best way possible. You ever notice how peace doesn't always come with soft music and scented candles? Sometimes it shows up in the form of an unoccupied shoe rack in the absence of, we need to talk. Ashley left behind half her wardrobe and none of her apologies. She tried one last time. Not to make things right, but to make sure she wasn't left looking like the villain. We sat across from each other at our old dining table, the one we bought after our honeymoon. She had her hands wrapped around a mug she didn't drink from. Classic move. Hold on to something to make yourself look fragile. She always was theatrical like that. I never meant to hurt you, she said, staring at the steam rising from her tea like it had answers. That's the problem, I replied. You meant to benefit yourself. And everything else was collateral. Her eyes welled up, but I didn't flinch. I wasn't falling for tears now. I had given years to that face, cheered for it, defended it, lost sleep for it. But not anymore. Whatever she was crying for, it wasn't me. It was the wreckage of her reputation. Her narrative was slipping. She began. You just what? I interrupted. Got bored? Wanted to feel something again? Thought I wouldn't notice. She wiped her eyes and tried to regroup. It wasn't just about Chase. That made me laugh. A short, bitter one. Oh, great. There were more. She shook her head, which somehow made it worse. No, I mean, I was lost. I didn't know who I was anymore. And so you tried on different men until one fit? I said, sharp and cold. You don't find yourself by burning down the people who loved you. She looked down, silent. Maybe for the first time, she realized I wasn't going to save her from this version of herself. I stood, ready to end this chapter. Ashley, I said, voice steady, you made your choices. And now you get to live with them. Alone. She opened her mouth like she wanted to protest, but she didn't. She just nodded slowly and stood. I'll send a truck for the rest of my stuff, she said, brushing past me like a ghost of the woman I used to know. And just like that, the door shut behind her. No dramatic goodbye. No final plea. Just the click of a door I wouldn't be holding open anymore. That should have been enough. But it wasn't. The house needed purging. Not just of her, of the past. So I started stripping it down. Her curated gallery wall? Gone. I replaced it with blank canvases, real ones. Art yet to be made. Our wedding photos? Into a sealed box, shoved deep into the attic under the label, "Do not open." The bed? New mattress. New frame. You don't sleep in a place where betrayal once laid its head and expect to wake up well-rested. But the best part? The garage. See, Ashley always thought I was too cautious. That I played life safe. She joked that I could turn a surprise party into a spreadsheet. Well, spreadsheets can be dangerous, too. Because while she was out curating her second act with Mr. Protein Powder, I was curating mine, with bank accounts, passwords, credit pulls, and signatures. Let's talk finances. Ashley had always prided herself on trusting me with the bills. I was the numbers guy, the budget whisperer. So she didn't notice when I moved money. She didn't notice when I removed her name from the joint account, legally, carefully, without a trace of drama. She didn't notice the new savings account in my name only. Or the fact that I cashed out our joint vacation fund the day after she sent me a thinking of you text that accidentally included a photo of Chase's dog in the background. She also didn't realize that her half of the mortgage was being bought out. Slowly, quietly, through a family lawyer I trusted and a friend who owed me a favor. By the time she realized what I was doing, the paperwork had already hit her inbox. "Logan, what the hell is this?" she texted, screenshots flying in rapid fire. "A clean slate," I replied. "Just like you wanted." She called. I didn't answer. She emailed. I archived it. She sent her sister to talk to me. I invited her in for coffee, handed her an envelope, and said, "Give this to Ashley. It's the last thing she'll need from me." Inside, a handwritten note. "You burned down our life without checking the wind. And all that smoke? It's yours to breathe now. Logan." I signed it with my full name. Because sometimes, dignity is louder than revenge. But don't think for a second that was the end. Because Chase had a job interview. Big firm. Big salary. Bigger opportunity. So I reached out, anonymously, of course, to the hiring partner. Just a friendly note. "Dear sir, I thought you might want to be aware that your potential hire, Chase Donovan, was recently the subject of an internal HR investigation regarding misconduct with a subordinate employee. Several colleagues were interviewed. I trust you'll do your due diligence. Best, a concerned professional." He didn't get the job. Ashley didn't know why he stopped answering her calls. Why his profile suddenly changed to seeking opportunities. But I did. Because I didn't just want them to hurt. I wanted them to hurt quietly. No explosions. No screaming matches. Just a slow unraveling. Like the stitching coming loose on a shirt they both swore was designer. And me? I was thriving. New gym. New friends. Even started dating again. Nothing serious. But every laugh over coffee, every long walk, every moment I wasn't watching someone lie to my face. It felt like oxygen. Ashley, for all her performance and charm, had always underestimated one thing about me. Still waters don't run deep. They run quiet, until the tide turns. About 6 weeks after she moved out, Ashley sent me an email. Subject line, "Can we talk?" I ignored it. A few days later, she tried again. This time, it came with a bit more warmth, a touch of desperation. "Logan, I've had time to think. I made a huge mistake. I let something stupid ruin what we built. Can we meet for coffee? Just to talk? Please?" I didn't reply. She called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail, her voice shaky, her tone no longer self-assured. "I just want closure," she said. Closure. That's rich coming from the person who opened the door, invited in a stranger, and called it growth. But here's the kicker. She didn't want closure. She wanted relevance. Her life was in free fall. Chase had gone dark, her career was flatlined, and suddenly, boring, predictable, safe Logan was looking a lot like home base. So she did what manipulators always do when Plan A burns down. She tried to gaslight me into rebuilding it for her. She sent one final text. The kind people usually send at 1:24 a.m. after a bottle of wine and a playlist titled, Regret. I miss you. I miss the way you made me feel safe. I stared at it for a long time. Then I replied with one word. Same. She answered 2 minutes later. Really? Yeah. I wrote. I miss the version of you I thought existed. I muted her number after that. There's a specific moment after the dust settles, when you walk through your home and realize how much quieter everything is, and how much better that feels. It hits you in places you didn't expect. For me, it happened while I was brushing my teeth. I looked up into the mirror one morning and didn't see the guy who used to ask, what did I do wrong? I saw the guy who finally asked, what do I deserve? And the answer wasn't her. It never was. We tell ourselves stories when we're in love. We turn red flags into quirks, dishonesty into stress, distance into she's just going through something. But the truth? The truth was Ashley wasn't my partner. She was my passenger. And worse, she had one hand on the emergency brake the whole ride. Now the wheel was mine again. So I built a new life, not out of bitterness, but out of choice. New couch. New art. Hell, I even adopted a dog. A rescue named Bandit who liked sleeping across the couch like he paid rent. Bandit didn't lie. Bandit didn't sneak around. Bandit didn't send late-night texts to men named Chase. My Saturday mornings turned into hikes, not hangovers from arguing. My evenings? Quiet. Peaceful. Free. And that, right there, that peace? That was my revenge. Divorce was final in the spring. Ashley didn't contest it. She couldn't afford to. Her lawyer was new, young, fresh-faced, probably didn't realize he was representing someone who'd weaponized loyalty for years. She got the car she drove. I got the house. She got the freedom she claimed to crave. I got the silence I didn't know I needed. There was no courtroom drama. No tears. No shouting. Just signatures, nods, and the crisp clap of a judge's gavel cutting through the final breath of a dead thing. It wasn't a divorce hearing. It was a funeral. And I didn't cry. I wore a dark gray suit, polished my shoes, shook the judge's hand, and walked out like a man who had buried something toxic and wasn't looking back. Later that night, I made myself a steak, poured a glass of bourbon, and toasted to myself. To the man who stayed when she left, I said out loud. And then I toasted again. To the man who left when she tried to come back. 6 months later, I ran into her at a coffee shop. Total accident. I was on a date. She was alone. She saw me, eyes wide, lips parted like she'd rehearsed what she'd say in the mirror 100 times but didn't expect to actually need it. I nodded politely. She walked over. You look good, she said. I smiled. I am good. She hesitated. You dating someone? Seeing someone, I said. Early, but solid. She tried to smile. It didn't land. That's great. You deserve that. You too, I said. You always deserve the truth. Just a shame you didn't want to live in it. That was it. No venom. No sarcasm. Just a clean finish. Because the real revenge isn't fire. It's ice. It's when the person who betrayed you realizes they no longer have the power to shake you. When your name stops being a regret they cry over and starts being a reminder of what they lost. She walked away that day looking smaller. Not physically, but spiritually. Like someone who finally understood what it cost her to play a short game with a long game man. Me? I paid the bill for two. Held the door open for my date. Stepped into the sunlight. And didn't look back. Because when you rise from betrayal, you don't return to the ruins. You build something better. And you call that place home.